The Twins win the series over the A's after a rough game Tuesday night. The Twins send down Royce Lewis, and now a very, very light part of the schedule. Let's break it all down on today's episode of Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On Minnesota Twins podcast. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, and I'm your gracious host, Nash Walker. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Again, this is Nash Walker. Been writing at Twins Daily for over 2 years. Been hosting this podcast for over 2 years. This is season 4 at Twins Daily. Season 3 as host of the pod. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're wondering, like, where are you? If you're listening, you might be wondering, why do you sound so crazy? Finally here in Palm Springs at my new home. It is beautiful. I will get better lighting by tomorrow. Hopefully we moved in today. Thought I packed my face light. Gonna have to get a new one tomorrow. But we're talking Twins anyway. We roll on. They win the series. I apologize. No episode last night. Just a crazy week with the move, but we're going to get back and get back on track here quickly. Twins beat the A's. Let's talk about the Royce Lewis demotion. We'll talk about the future of this team, and we'll talk about the present, which is a first-place club. First place in the American League Central. The White Sox are 3 games back. They lose to the Royals today. That was helpful, certainly. And the way the White Sox have been playing is helpful. It's time, though, to start with the spreadsheet. Let's look at the spreadsheet. How exciting is this? The Twins remain 1 game above my projections. For those who don't know, this is a spreadsheet with predictions for every series of the year for the Twins from me. And this predicts them to win 90 games because I believe 90 games will get them into the playoffs. Probably as Central champs, but if not, wild card. I think it's a very good chance 90 wins will get you into the postseason with 3 wild card teams this year. So this spreadsheet tracks out how they can get there. And it's not just about series to series, game to game. It's about maintaining your plus minus for the season. And right now, the Twins are +1 on my track for them to win 90 games. You look at the rest of this month at Kansas City this weekend. I have Kansas City taking 2 out of 3, and Salvador Perez not going to play in that series, so the Twins can pick up a game on my spreadsheet, but I do have them winning the next 2 series, 2 out of 3 against Detroit at home, and then 3 out of 4 from Kansas City at Target Field. And then Detroit, I have taking 3 out of 5 in Detroit. So what you'll notice here, I have the Twins going 9-8 for the rest of May. I think it's very plausible the Twins will go better than 9-8 for the rest of May. I don't necessarily, and this is into June, that Detroit series leaks into June. I don't think they're going to go 9-8 particularly. That's more of a before the season, preseason projection. I thought Detroit was going to be better. We know Kansas City plays the Twins tough, but looking at it now, Salvador Perez not going to play. We know how he hits the Twins, right? He can take over a series. I think the Twins can go into Kansas City, take 2 out of 3 this weekend, take 2 out of 3 from Detroit, and just keep parlaying series wins. But even great teams are going to lose series. Great teams are going to lose multiple series in a season. And the Twins are 22-16. We've seen that. Swept by the Astros, lost Tuesday night to the A's in an ugly game immediately after Royce Lewis is demoted. Dan Hayes reporting the clubhouse was very quiet after that demotion. I believe it. Didn't get a chance to break that down. I did say last time, I wouldn't be surprised if he was sent down. It's one of those things where, like, I am surprised, but I shouldn't be, right? He was hitting so well, and he just looked comfortable at the plate. I will say, look what happened with Trevor Larnach last year for the Twins. Played very well for more than 11 games last year. Then the league kind of figured him out. He struggled. I still think Trevor Larnach has a very bright future for the Twins. Royce Lewis, it's 11 games. I'm not saying Royce would have gone through a prolonged stretch of struggling like Larnach did, but we can't put so much stock into 11 games. On the same token, Royce Lewis looks like the future for the Twins at shortstop. It's so exciting to think of Byron Buxton and Royce Lewis as the core stars of this team moving forward, as it should be. And right now, the Twins' outlook at shortstop has never been brighter. I mean, how could it be? You have a all-star MVP caliber shortstop for you this year in his prime year. And then in the future, you have Royce Lewis, one of the best prospects in baseball, the number 1 pick in 2017. A lot of people took him off their prospect list. They shouldn't have, clearly. looks good defensively, looks awesome at the plate, looks like a potentially, 4, potentially 5-win player in the future for the Twins. He's got the intangibles. He's a leader. He's great character. He's just a guy you want to build around. And Byron Buxton's the same way. So to think of a future with Buxton and Lewis, it's really fun up the middle at short and in center field. They demoted him, though. They didn't want him, right now with Correa coming back. They didn't want him playing third base and left field and getting his feet wet in the majors. I don't necessarily disagree, or maybe I can see the logic, obviously, in this decision. It would have been fun, though, to see Royce in this lineup with Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton. And I think there is something to be said for learning on the fly in the big leagues. I think you can learn on the fly in the big leagues. I think he could play some third. I think he could play some left, could play center field when Byron Buxton gets a day off and get around. The number one thing was Royce Lewis needs to play 4 or 5 days a week, no matter where he is, whether that's St. Paul, in Minnesota, at Double-A in Wichita, wherever he is, needs to play baseball. He hasn't played in over 2 years, needs to play in games 4 or 5 days a week, preferably, 5-6 days a week, if that's the schedule. He clearly, they didn't think he could do that in the majors, and they didn't want to just throw him at positions he hasn't really played before. Do I agree with it? Not really. Do I see the logic in it? I do. And they could be taking something away from the lineup right now with Royce Lewis sent back to Triple-A, because I think, the way that it was looking, he was helping the lineup right now, and certainly looks like he's going to help this lineup in the future. Bottom line, Royce Lewis looks fantastic. He looks like the future at shortstop. Carlos Correa expected to opt out. We've known this. You don't need to see reports about Correa opting out potentially after this year. We know that was the likely outcome. But even if he does, and even if the Twins don't step up, which I'm not saying Lewis's development should preclude the Twins from stepping up with a big contract offer for Carlos Correa, even if they don't, it's nice to know that Lewis is in this system and that he, his stock has never been higher. Since he was drafted first overall, his stock has never been higher. Let's talk more about Lewis, more about the Twins, and an important stretch coming up after this word from LinkedIn. With spring in the air, it's time for renewal and growth personally and professionally. As your small business grows, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonMLB. That's linkedin.com/lockedonMLB to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Again, go to linkedin.com/lockedonMLB. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast, recaps of MLB games with analysis from our local experts, taking fans through the season like no other network. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. A big factor in the Royce Lewis decision was Gio Urshela. If Gio Urshela was not on this club, Royce Lewis would be at third base, I think, for the Twins. Maybe not, but if the Twins, two-headed, I should say, if Urshela was not on the club and the Twins were not in first place, it would be Lewis. It would be Lewis at third, I think. Even if Carlos Correa was at short, I think they would have Lewis moving around. The Gio Urshela defense has been so good. I know his offense hasn't quite been there, but Brandon Warren said it to me, and I totally agree. Like, this is my line of thinking as well. Gio Urshela is the type of player a good team has. Like, every good team has a player like Gio Urshela. He's not your best player. He's certainly not your second best, third best, fourth, fifth best player. He might be your sixth or seventh best hitter in a lineup, but he plays good defense. He can hit to all fields. You'd feel fairly confident with runners in scoring position that Urshela is going to come up and put good wood on the ball. I know he's had some ugly plate appearances, hasn't been great overall, but he's a professional. He's experienced. He's been in the league for a while. And I don't mind Gio Urshela playing a lot at all, really. I mean, I liked Urshela when he came over. I thought he was a good buy low candidate. I don't know if he's ever going to get back to 2019, 2020, where he was outstanding. I think 38% above league average in terms of OPS. But I think he can be a 260, 270 hitter with some pop. We saw In the Cleveland series, couple home runs, can play outstanding defense at third base, is a good pairing with Correa on the left side of the infield, is a solid player when he's right. Gio Urshela, his median, is a very solid player. So he's hard to upend for me out of the lineup. Jose Miranda, on the other hand, I think is going down as soon as Trevor Larnach is activated. And I saw in Bally that Larnach may go on a rehab assignment. He may not, but I think it's assumed that Miranda is going to go back to Triple-A as soon as Larnach is recalled. If this was a team, if the Twins had not signed Carlos Correa, if the Twins had not traded, if they had traded Donaldson but got prospects in return instead of Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela, Lewis would be playing shortstop every day. Miranda would be at third every single day. Larnach, if healthy, would be out there every day. He was pretty much anyway. It would be a different looking group right now. But because the Twins decided before the season, we are trying to win. We are committed to winning. Because they signed Carlos Correa, because they did get Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela back in that deal, because they signed Dylan Bundy and Joe Smith and others, they are committed to winning, and they're committed to winning today. And they're going to go with the best team, the best lineup, and the best defensive alignment that gives them a chance to win on that day. Whether Royce Lewis is part of that, like if he would help them win every day, I think he can, and I think he was helping them win every day. So that aspect of it is a little jaded. The flip side of that is he's still a prospect who's never really played other than shortstop. He did in the Arizona Fall League, hasn't played in 2 years. They're trying to get him acclimated to short. The future is him at shortstop. Most likely, that's the most likely outcome. As much as I want Carlos Correa back on this team next year and in the future, that's the most likely outcome. And that all factors into this decision. I don't think it's going to be long for Lewis. I think they're going to get him work. They are going to get him work at other spots in the minors, and then he will be back. And he'll be back, and he'll be back to stay. I'm confident in that. Royce Lewis looked awesome. And it wasn't just the comfortability he had clearly at the plate. It was looking to go to the right side, his speed on the bases, ability to hit breaking balls, laying off pitches, not swinging and missing a ton, hitting the ball hard, hitting home runs, hitting doubles, gap-to-gap power. He wasn't getting lucky. He made some great plays at short, had some errors, but looked really solid there. He looked like a winning ball player on a winning team and someone who could help this team now. So again, I to go back to Lewis, I know I kind of reverted back to this conversation, but it's the topic of conversation today. Even though the Twins did win 14-4, they won another series, 2 in a row now. It's Lewis's demotion and what it means for now, but also what it means for the future. Let's get to the Twins' schedule moving forward and why this stretch, I think, could be an opportunity and a stretch we look back on later this year. I love brownies, but you know what I love more? Brownie batter. Sometimes I eat half the batter just when I'm making the brownies. That's true. And with Built Bar, with a new creation, this one's better than ever. The brownie batter puff. You heard me right. This puff takes protein bars to a whole new level. So delicious. And the best part about Built Bars, they're not just delicious, they're also healthy. If you go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15, you'll get 15% off your order. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, you'll get 15% off your order. Again, these bars are not just delicious, and trust me, they are delicious. These bars are healthy. They're good for you. If you go for a candy bar, another protein bar, so much sugar, so many calories, that's not the case with Built Bars. They are delicious and they're healthy. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15. Twins win this series. Twins win the Cleveland series. Good way to bounce back after a tough sweep. The hands of the Astros. So what do we have moving forward? The Twins are in Kansas City for 3, I mentioned. Then they have Detroit at home. They have Kansas City at home for 4. And then they are at Detroit for 3. This is a prime opportunity, especially with the White Sox. They have the Yankees in the Bronx this weekend, the White Sox. Then they have the Red Sox, who aren't playing good ball, but still are a dangerous team. Moving forward, a very difficult schedule. They have the Dodgers on the schedule. They have the Rays on the schedule. The Blue Jays, they're going to make that AL East trip right before the Twins make that AL East trip. 15 games here. 15 games here. The next 4 series or the next 6 series, 15 games. This is the chance for the Twins to pad. I'm sorry, it's the next 4 series. It goes Kansas City, Detroit, Kansas City, Detroit. 15 games. Pad onto this thing. Just pad. Find a way to go 10-5. If the Twins go 10-5 in this stretch, and they are 32-21 on that AL East trip. Just weather the storm. Like, you can lose all 3 of those series and still be 5 or 6 games above 500 at the end of it, or maybe 4 or 5 above 500. But that's going to be a tough stretch, and you need to have as much insurance as possible going into that stretch. If you play Detroit and Kansas City, I'm shocked by how bad Detroit is right now. Like, I didn't think Detroit would be good, but I thought Detroit would be like a 78-82 win team, kind of like Cleveland looks so far. Thought you'd have a couple of those in the Central. Thought the Twins would be in that mix as well at 84, 85, 86, and then the White Sox would be at 90 plus. White Sox are below 500 right now, and it's May 18th. The White Sox are still below 500. They dropped below 500 tonight. It's one game, but they're not playing good baseball. So this is your chance right now in these next 15 to set yourself apart. Get a 6-7 game lead in this division. That would be outstanding. You're going to need some help for that to happen, but the Twins can control what the Twins can control. They're getting healthy. Sonny Gray looked awesome today. I thought it was his best start as a Twin so far. Trevor Larnach's coming back. Correa is back. Buxton is healthy. And this lineup's starting to come together. And the pitching staff, Chris Paddock, Tommy John surgery sucks. It's next man up. They built depth for this. And that trade right now doesn't look so good, but it's, wait and see mode. Emilio Pagan's been okay. He's been really shaky, but gotten it done. So that puts him in the okay status for me. Sustainability is more of a question mark, but the results have been there. In a majority of his outings. And Chris Paddock looked good before the injury. So hoping he can come back and be effective for the Twins maybe late next year or in 2024. But it's next man up. Bailey Ober's coming back this weekend. Sounds like Devin Smeltzer is going to start Friday night. The Twins built depth for this, or at least believed they have the built depth for this in the rotation, in the pitching staff. And we've seen it a little bit in the lineup with Royce Lewis coming up and performing very well. So they're pretty healthy. They are now going to Kansas City, to a team that doesn't have Salvador Perez this weekend. He's on the injured list with a thumb sprain. This is your chance to build. I think we'll look back at these 15 games. We could look back in August when the Twins have a much tougher schedule later this year and say they needed to win more of those games. Even if it was just 2 or 3 more of those games, that would have helped a ton at that time. And the difference between 9-6 and 10-5 isn't crazy, but I just have a feeling we're going to look back if they don't take advantage of this and say that's when they could have put their foot on the throat of the White Sox and made it very, very difficult for them to come back. I still expect the White Sox to win this division. I'll be clear about that. I still expect the White Sox to win this division, but the Twins can make it awfully tough on them. They really can. And if we get into mid-June and late June and into July and the Twins have a 5 or 6 game lead, it starts to get real. It's real right now. They're in first place and they're clearly the best team in the division right now. But if you get into June and July and they still have a pretty good lead in this division, it starts to get real. And then you have those head-to-head matchups, they start to matter. And then you can make your distance by taking advantage of those matchups as well and put all the pressure onto the White Sox. And more importantly, it gives you a better chance to make the postseason. Winning these games, winning games, period, gives you a better chance to make the postseason. It's been fun. The Twins are 6 games above 500 and now have 15 against the dwellers of the division in the Central. So we'll see how they take advantage of it. I'll be here certainly, and I want to thank you again for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Like, subscribe, comment. Again, I'll have a better lighting situation tomorrow. We'll get back into the groove. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day and go Twins.